first thing to think about when you think about a door is the fact that it is, obviously it's a threshold between an interior and exterior condition, and that traditionally within architecture the way in which it's functioned is to be not the wall, if you know what I mean, and not the window. So it's not a kind of break in the surface of a building that you look through in order to see the outside, nor is it something that you look into to see what's in the interior. But a door is an active thing. Okay, it's a kind of condition which moves in some way and takes a portion of the wall and shifts it. Doors, though, have also, in terms of, I guess, the history of the way in which they've developed, have not only a kind of simple functional role to play, but they also have they're an expression of technology, okay, and they're an expression of the way in which a process of thinking about techne or crafting the surface of the wall takes place. If you think of something like the doors of a cathedral, okay, there's an incredibly rich kind of numerological relationship between what the door is, the number of doors, how the doors are used in the Gothic tradition. So if you think of a Gothic cathedral, they'll often have a main central door and two doors either side, to what are called the aisles on the side of the church. Now, the doors on to the right and to the left as you're facing a Gothic cathedral are essentially there for practical purposes. The central door is really, really important. Okay, it's a very different thing, and there's a reason why. Now, those doors, along with all the decorations that surround it, are very much in the Western tradition about a passage from the profane to the sacred. Okay, so the people who were within the medieval community who would be going to that Gothic cathedral would pass through that door and literally go through a process where they had gone into a kind of theological machine. Okay, so the architecture generally, once you're in the interior, okay, is meant to be some sort of transformative kind of entity. And the door is the way in which you make that transition. The door of the old Westpac, or Bank of New South Wales building on the corner of North Terrace and King William Road, is an incredible threshold, not only for a whole range of reasons. One, because of the sheer scale of it, the proportions of that opening is quite monumental. It reminds me personally of one of the most beautiful set of doors I know, which is the ones into the Pantheon in Rome, which are all about, again, you walk into this kind of space just in front of the door, then the doors open and you go into the amazing space of the Pantheon itself. With the building in Adelaide, it's very much a process of revelation. It reveals as it kind of descends into the ground. The idea being that you have to wait, you're delayed in your kind of experience of that interior because of the kind of the massive technology involved in raising and lowering this thing. For a bank, that's incredibly appropriate because it tells a story to the people who are engaged with the building about the security of the bank. The entire building is about security. It looks like it's a tomb of some sort. And so when the moment finally comes and it descends to the ground and you can walk into the banking chamber itself, you're well and truly prepared for the idea that this is a very kind of special and important place. There's a strong correlation between how much a building makes you wait or makes you kind of encounter or engage with it, and how much you're meant to acknowledge the importance of that building, which is what I think that door and that threshold itself does. And we all are aware of the kind of the mythology of the cell, you know, that it's either a good cell, which is a cell of contemplation, which, you know, from a monastery or something like that, or it's the bad cell, the cell of punishment and exclusion. The physicality and the technology associated with that door is crucial, because of course it's, you know, it's the place where discipline enters into the space of the prisoner, be it through perhaps, you know, a viewing portal, or whether it's through a hatch of some sort which can work through. And of course, for the moment, when the door opens, the prisoner is then allowed out for whatever kind of, you know, exercise is available to him, or ultimately released. Prison doors are incredibly important because they tell that story about the need for the prisoner to be kept in a particular place. And so the door, the hinges and the locks themselves are all working together as a way to make sure that they can't be breached. Okay, there's no way of actually kind of allowing people to force themselves, you know, casually in or out of a process. When you think about a door is always something which is part of a threshold. It's the space before it and it's the space after it, which is incredibly important. And the choreography, or the way in which you walk up to that thing when you're coming from the outside in, or when you're trying to go out, is an incredibly important part of the drama of how a building is felt. And people respond to that, because it's always about that process of transition. I'm going into something. When I'm in it, then I'm engaged with it, be it a cathedral, be it a bank, be it a house.